Good morning, America. How are ya? Monday Morning Rail. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is an absolute pleasure. Today is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday? You guessed it. We do show and tell. Show and tell is always brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the people that make all the railroad embroidery clothing we have since 1985, 40 years of making railroad embroidery for the railroad industry, rail fans. So go to jelsma.com. It's JELSMA.com. And today's show is a very exciting show, and we're going to talk about the Rock Island, and it starts right now. And I've got quite a few Rock Island passenger cars. The Rock Island was known to have a lot of passenger trains. They ran trains from Minneapolis to Houston, from Denver to Chicago, throughout the Midwest, from Texas over to Memphis. They had passenger trains everywhere. They ran commuter services in the Chicago area, and so when you think of the Rock Island, you had to think a lot about passenger trains. And I grew up on the Rock Island, and I was very fortunate growing up in the cornfields of Iowa that we had some major railroads within 25 miles of beautiful Pella, Iowa. You go to the south and you had the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. The Rock Island had a secondary line that went from Des Moines, Altoona, Pella, Oskaloosa, and then down to Keokuk. And then you had the Milwaukee, you had the Chicago Northwestern, and then about 50 miles to the north you had the Illinois Central, Chicago Northwestern. We just had trains all, and then going north and south we had the Rock Island, Chicago Great Western, the Emmons St. Al. I was just inundated with all kinds of trains, and so I was just so blessed growing up in those cornfields and great memories. And so I just want to share a show and tell. Once again, Mondays we bring our toys and we like to show them off. And I'm going to show you a bunch of Rock Island observation cars. I just love observation cars. And so I'm going to show you a few Rock Island cars that I have. What I have here is all brass, and the Rock Island had some very unique cars. So let's get started with my first car I want to show you. The Rock Island had a business car, and it was called Lake Michigan. And this here is a real classic Bud car, and it was called Lake Michigan, and it was quite a spectacle when they put it on. And then I just kind of threw this next car in, and it actually was a fluted car that came off of the Rock Island Golden State. They took the fluting off, and this ran all the way up to 1976 on the Quad Cities rocket, and it was very common to see this car on the Quad Cities rocket. Then, speaking of the Golden State, you know, the Golden State biggest competition was the Santa Fe Super Chief. And you think of luxurious trains from Chicago to LA, the Golden State was right up there with the Santa Fe Super Chief, and that was Santa Fe's biggest competitor. And this here is the observation car, Pullman Standard, the Golden Vista, the Rock Island cut across southeast Iowa, went from Chicago, southeast Iowa, and if you lived in Omaha, you lived in the Dakotas, if you lived in Minneapolis, there was a train that fed the Golden State. And the Golden State advertised as a premier train, and that was Rock Island's #1 train, and it lasted up until 1968. And so they had a barber shop, you name it, they had it, and they advertised that it was the low-level route. You didn't have to cross over high altitudes. And I remember my mother couldn't, anything got over 3,000 feet, she couldn't handle it. And so a lot of people took the Golden State to LA because of the low elevation. And so this was just, it was a gorgeous, beautiful train. And it was a Southern Pacific Rock Island joint venture. At Tucumcari, Arizona, New Mexico is where they changed crews. Southern Pacific took it on to LA. The next car I have is a 1937-38 version of the Rock Island Rocky Mountain Rocket. Rock Island was a big player in tourists going to Chicago, to the Denver, the Colorado area, and they had this Bud observation, and it was just a gorgeous car. It's total interior, and this is a total brass car. Then Bud also they had a car for the Peoria Rocket, and went from Chicago to Peoria, Illinois, and they had this particular car. Rock Island piggybacked off of a lot of Santa Fe orders from Bud and Pullman Standard. That was very, very common, and so you could, as a modeler, you could use the Santa Fe car, and you could be pretty accurate for Rock Island. Then this particular car here is a Pullman Standard, and it was called Memphis, and this ran from Memphis all the way out to east-west to Little Rock and beyond. And then its twin sister was Little Rock, and beautiful observation cars. And then the next car is Great Lakes, and Pullman Standard. And this ran the Great Lakes on the Des Moines trains. It ran out of Minneapolis, ran all really through the Midwest, but it was called Great Lakes. Then its twin sister observation was called Missouri. And so the states and the different cities really bid with these railroads that they wanted to have their name on the side of the car. And that was very, very, very popular to have that at that particular time. And then the other, this typically ran on the north-south from Minneapolis, Des Moines, Kansas City, all the way down to Texas on the Twin Star rocket. The next car is the Minnesota. And so once again, the different states and the different towns took great pride in having a particular railroad name and put their name on their car. And the Rock Island was very, very community organized. And so this is just some of the show and tell of my Rock Island observation cars. And so I just love the Rock Island. Many fond memories. My dad taking me to all the different Rock Island locations in central Iowa. Just fond memories of the Rock Island. Now, with all that being said, this is kind of what I have to show all the guys at Show and Tell today. I want to remind everybody that I love STEAM, that the Florida East Coast Railroad Society is having its annual convention in Melbourne, Florida, in the middle of September. You go on their site, you just go to the Florida East Coast Railroad Society, and they are going to have a STEAM excursion to on the Florida East Coast old section, and you just go to their site and you can get tickets. You can join the convention. This is the shirt that we have this year. It's beautiful. and they're doing this along with U.S. Sugar. And so make sure that you go to the Florida East Coast Railroad Society's website and take a look at the convention, and you could ride this historic steam train around down to the Lake Okeechobee area. It's the first time that the steam engine, which is a reconditioned Florida East Coast steam engine, is running on the Fort Pierce branch over to Lake Okeechobee. So make sure you go there. Number two, if you're going to be in the Cass, West Virginia area, number two is going to be there in a couple of weeks. If you see him, ask for his autograph, and he'll be glad to. He said he was going to bring some glossies, and he'll sign some glossies for you. He also will be in the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum in central Pennsylvania. And where else are you going to be, number two?
Well, we're going to spend some time in Cass. We're going to spend some time in Cumberland and ride the Western Maryland Scenic.
Oh, yeah.
Have seats for 4 in the dome car.
Wow. Well, once again, if you see number two, go up to him. He'll be glad to sign a glossy for you. And so this summer we've got a lot of activities going, and our next show that number two and I will be in DeLand, and that's in October. And then in the first weekend in November, I think it's November the 1st and 2nd, we'll be back at Milwaukee, downtown at the Bird Center with Train Fest. Train Fest has been always a good show. We've been doing that for 30 years or more. And so come by and see number two and I. And number two, once again, he loves signing autographs. So he'll take pictures with you. So that's what we have planned for the rest of the year. And we'll be back next week with another exciting show and tell. And show and tell, once again, is always brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the people who make all the embroidery shirts. Make sure you go to the Florida East Coast Society's webpage and get a ticket on the Steam Sugar Express. With all that being said, that's the way it is at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is an absolute pleasure. Peace and harmony and air-conditioned comfort.